this up. Okay, and 3, 2, 1. Beautiful.
Yay.
Okay, so we're going to get into the interview in a moment, but first, 15 minutes of IG Live. So hello, Instagram Live.
Hi.
Gregory Hernandez, Uptown Films Podcast. Eileen Level, an extraordinary film curator, program, film enthusiast from Canarsie, Brooklyn, and she is my twin.
Yeah.
Let's dive into it. So we'll read your bio first.
Okay.
And can you give me the correct pronunciation again? It's PaleFO?
Oh, you did it. Yeah, PaleFO.
That's what I figured. PaleFO. Because you practice, and then I think there's something, it's a positive of practice, of course, but then sometimes you get in your head and you're like, PaleFO,
I get PaleFO a lot, and I was
Pale.
But it's so much fun to just to say that. I think like it's so funny. I remember when I came up with the name, and it made a lot of sense to do that. But I had gone to like a small business advisor, and they were like, "We don't like this name. What is it, PaleFO?" And I was like, I said, "Are you kidding me?" I was like, "I'm sorry." When Haagen-Dazs ice cream came out, do you think that was easy to pronounce? I was like, you can figure out PaleFO, and it's fun.
Great example. Okay, so we're going to read the bio. Eileen Level, a champion of the cinema-going experience, has been working in the film festival industry since 2014, and since then has launched PaleFO Cinema, amplifying voices through the cinematic arena, which seeks to look forward to the evolution of the cinescape experience in NYCHA, New York City Housing Authority, for those of you who don't know. Beyond this, she is the head of education at New York International Children's Film Festival, an Oscar-qualifying film festival bringing films that represent and celebrate unique, diverse, and historically excluded voices to thousands of students throughout New York City and Newark, New Jersey. Definitely want to talk about Newark. In 2023, Level spoke at South by Southwest on the 90-minute film school panel about her journey as a budding exhibitor and mission to quench cinema deserts. I love that. Later that year, she founded AniTOMO, Manga and Anime Convention. She's an anime enthusiast. A free event in Brooklyn designed to celebrate diverse perspectives from historically underrepresented communities. Eileen Level.
Yeah. So you know what's interesting? I recently left the New York International Children's Film Festival in my role as head of education, but I'm still with them as a venue manager, and I've been with them for like 6 years. But I did that because I really wanted to put more focus into PaleFO Cinema and into, I love how you pronounced it, AniTOMO, like AniTOMO Convention. Yeah. It's like taking all the things that I love, storytelling in film format or like anime style. But I needed to step away from a role that I really loved as head of education. Like, oh my goodness, working with youth. There's nothing like it. But I needed to take more time to focus on these two things.
I love it. And thank you for that context. And it takes a lot to step away from something you really love, but you have a calling, so it makes sense.
Yeah, like you start to realize, like as a social impact entrepreneur, that you want to do it all, but you can't. And sometimes I'm like, you know that feeling of like Spider-Man, like a Spider-Man curse, like that question that he asks himself because he's being given these powers, but then he has to protect people that he can't sometimes. And I feel like that with what I do. I'm like, I sometimes sit there and all I do is I have all these ideas in my thoughts. And I was like, but I'm the kind of person that once I have that idea, I'm like, oh, let's do it. Let's do it with whatever we have and whoever's willing to help. And that starts to become a slight issue because there's only so much time in a day, and you're like working for free most of the time. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, is this a curse? But I can't ever believe that. I do feel very, very blessed, regardless of the fact that I'm always broke.
Oh my God. We'll get into it.
I'm so rich.
We'll get into it. So what was your entry point into cinema? Because I definitely want to talk about South by Southwest and cons.
Yeah. I'm like, cons. I'm totally wearing this. I'm never taking this hat off.
Oh, yeah.
I feel like my first experience with cinema, I mean, it's probably like, I was born in the 80s, but you start with your TV watching whatever's on it. But I would say 1000% it was at Canarsie movie theater in my childhood community, Canarsie. So you think Canarsie, think Brooklyn, think the L train, the last stop on the L train, Brooklyn bound. And Canarsie movie theater is no longer with us. It closed in 2003, but I think the first movie that I remember watching there has to have been Mortal Kombat.
Yeah.
And it was the best experience ever. The floors were sticky, the chairs were awful, they were totally dirty, and it doesn't matter.
What year was this?
Like
95?
94, 95, maybe. And oh my gosh, everything was amazing. So this is something that I'll also never forget. And this is how I became who I am. So a lot of people love programming, and they love the art of making films and the art of programming, curating films for people. I just love the space. Like that's why you and I are twins, because like we both love cinema exhibition. And so I remember when I was a kid, the first time that like I turned around in my seat, and instead of facing the screen, I was facing the audience. And that's a really freaky thing to do. Like the lights are down, and just to turn around and see what people look like as they're watching the screen. And it was majestic. It was like, okay, they're all under some spell. What is this spell? I want to be the sorcerer in this space that does this for people all the time. And as I got older and I started going to movies more often, I realized I love it here. This is my happy place.
Yes.
And sometimes you don't want to take the thing that's your hobby or your happy place and turn it into work. But this was like you said, it was a calling. Like I was like, no, I want to create this feeling all the time for people, where you can turn off your phones, silence your thoughts, and be selfless. And watch somebody else's work, somebody else's story, learn something about yourself and about a different culture, a different world, something that is make-believe. It is like magic every single day at the tip of your fingers. But then suddenly, movie theaters started to disappear. And it was like, whoa. So this is where I felt like I was charged to do something, and like, what are you going to do about it? If this is the thing that you love most, and if this is the thing that you think is super important to humanity, yes, I do believe this is important for humanity.
Totally agreed.
Then what am I going to do about it? And so like, this is kind of like how I started to like, well, how do you bring a movie theater to a neighborhood that's now considered a cinema desert with no money? So I had to start getting creative, and that's where like finding out that like I could be an entrepreneur. Like what does that mean?
I was waiting for you to get to that. Like you perfectly articulated and encapsulated that toward the end of that word, entrepreneur. You see something that needs to be changed. I have a solution. There's a problem. I have a solution. We've met now going on 3 years ago, and last time we saw each other was 2 years ago in the Bronx. We've connected. We're twins because we both want to bring a space. Some people can say third space, what have you. I like to say we need to bring a space, a physical, tangible, existing space in reality where people can come, enjoy cinema, be inspired, work, and find success in the industry. And quick nugget for those of you who have seen Sinners, I have to get the name of the person, so maybe I'll add this later. But the town in which Sinners takes place in their story, there's no cinema.
Oh.
So someone's trying to bring a cinema to that town and to screen Sinners, or at least have a screening of Sinners in the town in which it took place. So,
you're like in real time.
In real time.
This is what's so wild. It's like when you hear things like this, it is absolutely wild to me that the very neighborhoods that have people that are often going to see films, or where the films are talking about their lives, that representing them, they're on the screen, but they don't even have access in their very neighborhood to see themselves. It's not easy to just say like, I'm gonna put my car down and I'm gonna go fly to Japan or wherever in the world. But what's very accessible is going into a movie theater and watching a movie, and then you're just transformed into a different space. Like you're gone. You're flying off to anywhere you want, beyond any galaxy, anywhere in the world, anywhere where your imagination can take you. And I was like, it boggles me, it frustrates me, it bothers me that we still live in a society today where that doesn't seem to be as important to certain people that hold the power.
Exactly. And I want you to kindly define cinema desert.
Ooh, and it's such an easy thing. It's a neighborhood without movie theaters. That is it. You can have a food desert is a neighborhood without supermarkets, or like a newspaper desert. There's so many things that just do not have access to thing. The thing is missing. And, I spoke about this with my friend recently, and it was like, we discussed and we both agreed that the first signs of economic collapse if we're talking in the realm of arts and culture, to me, it's a movie theater. And I've seen this happen in Canarsie. The movie theater left, and then little by little, other things started to change, and not for the better. And these things started to be replaced. These spaces are replaced by, multiple beauty supply stores, multiple bodegas. We love our bodegas, but multiple. We love our beauty supply stores, but on the same block. And it's just like, wait, but it starts to tell a story about who we are without our permission. And that's a dangerous thing. That when you start to, it's what people see, right? If you can see it, you can be it. If you have access to physical space, then, you can learn from it and you can be a part of it and grow it. But like, if you're coming into a neighborhood and you're seeing the same things over and over, what does it say about the neighborhood? What does it say about the people that live there? And I do believe that the people of Canarsie deserve better, and all the neighborhoods that are deserts of many things
totally agree
deserve better. And I'm not, and it's never to say, because I also feel like when you come to these vibrant, POC neighborhoods, like culturally rich neighborhoods, and you see this, you kind of fall in love with this idea of like, oh yeah, this is a bodega, the beauty supply store can get you everything that you need, and you got the fast food Chinese restaurant, like we know the people there. All those things we love that. We love that. That makes us who we are in so many ways, Brooklyn, New York City culture. But for that to be the only thing that defines us, that's where I start to take issue. So
I'll go a full step further here. If I had unilateral power, and I think we've discussed this over the phone and in person, if I was like mayor or like governor or just, I don't know, president or whatever, I would introduce a law to get passed, hopefully get passed, that in half of the major like transportation thoroughfares, like major transportation stops, like Times Square, what have you, but even in the Bronx, 161, Yankee Stadium, Fordham Road, things like that, Brooklyn, you can name, many. I think there needs to be, outside of half of these train stops in major thoroughfares, artistic and cultural institutions, and get the banks and other corporate spots or major chains out of there, and because they can afford to be on multiple spots. The 161 example, this is not a shot at this business. Bliss Beauty has 2 stores on 161, and I'm like, why? They're like 3 blocks from each other. I know you have many chains. So it just, for me, I would rather get off 161 and Walton Avenue. For those of you in the Bronx, you can get off right there in the park, courthouse, Yankee Stadium. And I'd see a bookstore or a comic book store or something where I'm like, oh my God, I could see the Yankee fans, but also just newcomers get out of the train and go, ooh.
Yeah.
That's it. I'll get off my soapbox.
I know, it kind of feels like a zone. I had to learn a little bit more about this because, and this is what I love when like you just don't know. And when you don't know, I pray that you have questions. And
curiosity.
I have so many questions because I'm just not familiar. Becoming an entrepreneur in this space and saying that I'm going to do something about this cinema desert situation meant that I had to start being active and get very involved in civic engagement, which is very new to me. Like in my in my later 20s is when I really started to get active. I started going to community board meetings and I started voting for council members and assembly members. I was super invested because I wanted to know who makes these decisions. Who is allowing for the same shops that sell somewhat of the same things to be on the same block?
Oversaturation.
And I was like, this is a zoning issue. Like, who's making these decisions? Also, who owns these buildings? Yeah. Who are the owners? Are they people that live in the neighborhood that are investing in the neighborhood, or are they just collecting funds from the neighborhood?
Most of these people live abroad.
Right.
It's an investment.
Right. So for me, like there's like it's so much bigger. Sometimes you're looking at it directly and it's like, oh, Eileen, it is so much bigger than you know. And there's a system to it and they like that system. They don't want to break that system. And I'm like, and also who are the they? There's so many things. But what I do love is that when you start to get really involved, you start to find out who are your thought partners and who are like the trailblazers and who are the people that like, start fires in the neighborhood. And you're like, not literally, but like, you're like, oh, you're radical. You're a little dangerous. And I like you. And you partner with those people. Those people are going to give you the facts. They're going to tell you who to talk to, who not to waste your time with. And they're going to
help so much.
Oh my God, that happened a lot for me in Canarsie. Like there's stakeholders, gatekeepers, just community advocates that have really supported me and have been guiding me and telling me like, Eileen, this is where like you can push and this is where like, don't bother because this is so much bigger than this, but like, let's go around it in a different way.
Exactly.
And you need that support. You just needed that. So, but the problem is so much bigger. But then sometimes you feel a little defeated, and you're like, you know what? But at the end of the day, this needs to happen no matter what. And like, then I have to refocus. Sometimes you start to find that your focus goes everywhere, and you start to see all the problems in the world, and you're like, how is this gonna work? How am I gonna do this? And then you like have to wake up and then be reminded again. Stay focused. Stay focused on like you just want to bring cinema to the space, and once that happens, then let all the chips will fall where they may. But first, make this happen.
It's easier when you have one clear goal, no matter how big it is. It's like, here's what I'm working on. It makes it even easier if you have the funds to just focus on that one thing. So I think that's what we're trying to get into. So I want to ask you about cons and also South by Southwest. But we're up at 15 minutes now on IG Live. So if you want to watch the full interview, definitely follow us on Uptown Films podcast.
You're watching Uptown Films, so keep watching films Uptown.
Hey there, I'm Nicole Tay, and you're watching Uptown Films.
Hi, my name is Sean Senavrotny, and you are listening to the Uptown Films podcast.
Hi, this is Alvaro Franco, and keep making films Uptown, and please keep showing Uptown Cinema.
Hi, my name is Zainab Lindsay, and you're watching Uptown Films.
Hey, this is Christopher Hall. Thanks so much for listening to the Uptown Films podcast.
So I want to hear about you going across the pond to Europe for a famous film festival that headlined some terrific films, specifically Spike Lee's From Highs to Lows, and you were at Cannes.
Yeah.
Not Cannes.
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 I'm half French, and I still say Cannes.
Oh my God! Yes.
But
we got to say you're mixed. You're Haitian
and yeah,
French.
I'm half Haitian, my mom's side, and half French, my dad's side. And that's a story within itself.
Oh yeah, we're gonna dive into it.
Colonizers, revolutionary, cha! Great story there.
That's a movie.
Yeah, no, that's a movie within itself. Yes. So, we all have our bucket list. We're in the film festival world. We all have a bucket list of the film festivals that we want to go to. And Sundance is up there, and South by Southwest is up there, and all these amazing film festivals. But we all know that Cannes is the top of the top.
Oh, so you say Cannes?
Yeah, I say Cannes. I still say Cannes. I do. And like there's other
Cannes.
festivals too, like Annecy Film Festival. Some say like Annecy or like Annecy, and I'm like Annecy. I'm American, but it's at the top of my list, and it took 10 years to get to this point, and one of my festival bestie, we've been together since Sundance. We met at Sundance as volunteers. And when we connected, and ever since then, we were like, we're going to go to Cannes together. She became a programmer at a major film festival, and I became a social impact entrepreneur, lugging around equipment through NYCHA. But we made it together. She was invited as a juror for the queer program, and I applied for the Mosh de Film badge. Now, something that's really interesting is Cannes is not a film festival where you can just like apply, you can just like buy a ticket, or you can just buy a badge.
Right.
Like other festivals. You have to apply to be there. Every single person there is vetted, and that makes it super special. I believe they call it a closed market or something of that nature.
Nice.
And so when I applied, I'm thinking like, oh, it's just like an application so that they have your emergency information, like who you are, and just a little bio.
Wow.
No, they emailed me back a couple of weeks after my initial application. They were just like, we need more information. I was like, excuse me? I felt like I had to give them a dissertation as to who I was. So like, here I am writing out this whole entire essay about everything that I've done, because I know that I'm like, oh my goodness, they're questioning if they want me to come to this, like they want me at this festival as an exhibitor. And a few weeks after that, they accepted my application, but ... they were like, we're accepting you. That said, just because we accept you this year does not mean that you will be accepted any year after that. And I was like, holy cannoli. So I better make this count.
Ooh, was this like a letter or like an email?
This was all an email. So they have their department that reviews every single application.
Nice.
And this one specific person, very lovely person, through email, she was just saying she needs more information. And then that followed after, like, we're happy to have you, but this is like, just because does not mean. And that makes it super more intense to like get there, but it also makes you feel like, wow, I was chosen.
We were vetted. And
We
chosen.
were vetted. And when you get there, so I'm thinking you're at, Cannes Film Festival, and it's just a bunch of people spending all their time in the cinema, watching movies. No, that's for me. That's probably more like Sundance vibes. I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of transactions happening at Sundance, but Sundance really gives me everybody's in the cinema. But Cannes is like on the surface, we're all watching these incredibly curated films. But on the other hand, for like the seasoned Cannes people, no, they're making deals. And something that I learned when you're at Cannes is, first of all, if you are in the film industry in any way, shape, or form, you should add that to your list to attend. But go there with a project, because what separates Cannes from a lot of other ones, I think, is this is where dreams actually come true. If somebody told me this, they're like, if somebody comes up to you and they say, do you have a project? You say yes. If somebody comes up to you and they say, like, are you an exhibitor, or producer, filmmaker? You say yes. Do not say like, well, no, yes. Do you want investment? Yes. Do you have a question at the Q&A? Anybody have a question? I do. Yes. You have everything when you go there. It needs to be a yes, because literally there is an opportunity that you will meet the right person, or you're going to get your project greenlit. Like, everything's very serious there. And that's why I love that you're vetted. Because people, like somebody that holds a really high position at a studio will give you their personal contact because they know you've been vetted. And that to me is power. So oh my goodness. So I was like, yeah, I was definitely there watching films, but then halfway through my time there, I realized, okay, Eileen, get it together. You are the founder of PaleFO Cinema. You need funding. You also run an anime convention that's looking for more Japanese animation and content. Make this count. So then I switched. I went from, I'm a cinephile, I'm in the theater, I'm happy to be at Cannes, to no, I want a meeting, I want to ask a question, here's my deck, and that helped a lot. So I left. I think I did Cannes really well. I saw 10 films. I saw some shorts. I watched films from across the world. I think I only saw one American film. The rest, Thai, French. There was just like so many films that I saw from all over.
Any titles? Any ones that stood out, or
oh my goodness? Yes, there's one, and I'm gonna laugh. Oh my goodness! I wish there's one film. It won the Critics a Week Award, I think, and it's a Thai film about a man whose wife dies and her spirit gets reincarnated into a vacuum. It's a queer film, but it's also, think Beetlejuice, but if it were queer and Thai. It was amazing. Long and funny and emotional and sad and cathartic. Oh my gosh, it's bloody, it's gory at the end. It's everything. And I wish I knew, but everybody knows, if you see the Thai film that won the Critics Week Award, it had the most beautiful poster, gorgeous poster.
I gotta tell Nicole Tay about
oh
this.
my God, just like put Thai film that won a major award at Cannes, and like you'll know what I'm talking about. But for me, and that was one of the most exciting films that I saw. Yes. And every film that I watched, quite honestly, was the best. Even especially this film that I saw from China, like a gangster rivalry film, amazing. But my favorite film that Netflix picked up is Arco. It's an animation film. It's a French film, Arco. Another gorgeous, very colorful, rainbow-like poster. It is so beautiful. It is so incredibly beautiful. And I think it's going to be The Flow, the one that like made it to the Oscars that nobody saw coming. I feel like Arco is going to be the at least get a nomination at the Oscars, if not win.
Oh my God! Can we do a joint screening on that?
Oh my goodness, I would love to. I would love to. Oh my goodness, it was beautiful. But yeah, Cannes is definitely a place where you go and you show up and you show out and you come with all your confidence. You find the confidence and you say yes and you take that meeting and you ask that question and you look the part. You got to look the part. That's something that I realized people are watching you. Oh, my captain hat girl. Like I brought the captain hat girl out. I'm not wearing her today, but that's something that I built over my years on the film festival circuit. Is like it's almost where's Waldo? Everybody knows where's Waldo's, like with the striped shirt and the denim and the hat. But for me, it's my captain hat. And when people see that, it's like I turn on. It's like I turn on. Like Beyonce turns on. Like I turn on. That's my person.
Personality.
Oh, my personality completely changes. And that wearing that hat and having that look, it's like I just feel so much more relaxed and I feel dominant in the space and I speak differently and I hold myself differently and I'm definitely like, no, you want to have this conversation with me. And I push hard. And what's interesting is that I'm a Brooklyn girl going to Cannes Film Festival and I'm talking about cinema deserts in a place that's glitzy and there's money and there's things happening and investors are talking. I don't care. I'm talking about the fact that there are cinema deserts in predominantly POC underrepresented communities. Not to take, and I don't like the word saying underrepresented because it feels as though the people that are advocates in communities that are sometimes don't have the access that they need aren't doing their job. Like, no, these communities are represented to a degree. I'm talking about in the bigger sense. And, and I'm talking about this story that may seem very small to them, like Brooklyn, like underrepresented. But I'm like, but this is a major problem because you cannot talk, and I say this all the time. I sound like a broken record. Mm-hmm. But you cannot talk about filmmaking without talking about cinema exhibition. You're just selling dreams. You're teaching people how to make films. But if you ask any filmmaker, what is your dream? I want to be in the cinema. I want my movie on a big screen in front of a massive audience or an audience, a wide audience. I want to go to the movies. That's still the dream. It still is. And I think that...
And it's to put a pin on that.
Yeah.
A packed house of people to see your film and to take questions and to go, wow. And my film premiered in my neighborhood or what have you. I need a space that caters to my interests. And it's like, what's the Departed? I don't want to be a product of my environment. I want my environment to be a product of me.
Yeah, no, but it's true. But it's like, that's the thing. And it's like, that's why I go to these spaces and it's beautiful. But everything about film festivals feels somewhat, it's weird because it's like you feel privileged to be there because it's such a closed off space. It's like a very unique community.
It's pretentious.
Oh yeah, but it's also the place where you give opportunities to first time filmmakers who have worked so hard to be here. So for them, it's like, I made it. Like, so it's like, it's not pretentious to me. Like, I can't believe I'm here. Mm-hmm. It's wonderful in that way. But the conversation I feel is generally about the movie, the film itself and distribution. But I was like, no, not just that. They always have to be one and the same because where's that movie going? Everybody gets a Netflix deal? Everybody gets an Apple TV deal? No. Does everybody get to the AMCs and the Regal? No. And how are you even doing that when there are local movie theaters shutting down? There are local movie theaters that are struggling. If we support them, or if we make more movie theaters, then a lot of local filmmakers, I imagine, will have a chance to screen in their very neighborhood, or at least screen to the audience that they made this film for. Because every film is made for a particular audience, I would hope. You're not a filmmaker. Some filmmakers are making films for themselves. Like, they're like, I'm an artist and I'm doing this because I felt I needed to do this. And you're getting it off of your chest. Wonderful. But if you want your film, I imagine, to do well, then you should be thinking, which is something that I also learned at Cannes, you should be thinking about distribution immediately. You should be thinking about who this film is for immediately.
Yeah. Who's your target audience?
Right.
Emmeline Stewart Cinema, my film was in her October Film Festival. We won Best Documentary, and she gave workshops. Thank you.
Yeah, right? I'm like, hey, congratulations.
Thank you. I got the ring at home. I should have worn it. She gave a couple of workshops and networking events, and one of the workshops she was like, okay, what's the most important thing in terms of making your film? And people said budget, script, cameras, things of that nature. And I think I said something like locations, or like I think I said something about like cast, like you need like a cast that can that's well known or like whatever. And she was like, yeah, all those things are important, but the most important thing is understanding your target audience. Like, who is this film for?
Yeah.
Because that, working backwards, it sets the precedence of like, okay, where would this go? Are you going to go do theatrical? Is it going to be streaming? Is this educational? Is this on airplanes? Is this going straight to like a film market? Do you know what a film market is? It's just those things. It's SVOD, TVOD. Where is this film going to go? How are you going to make money? How are you going to get your ROI? So, it cost me $10,000 to make it. For us, $10,000
it's amazing.
Is a lot.
What?
But if you spend $100, like, how are you going to make more? And it's how are you going to make your money back?
Yeah, and to
make your next film.
And to take it a step further, and you're thinking about your audience and how you're going to reach your audience. What if you say exhibition? I want to be in the movie theaters. Great. I'm so happy that you want to be in the movie. Which ones? How are you going to do that? There's not many of them. And when you even look, it's the same thing of when you are a filmmaker and you are submitting your film to a film festival. Did you bother, I would hope, to look, and sometimes you just don't know to do that, right? You see a film festival and you're like, I love this film festival, I've attended, or I dream to be at this film festival, so you just apply. Mm-hmm. But if you do a little bit of your homework and you look at their program and you see what have they programmed just last year or previously.
Or the themes.
What are their themes? Do you actually fit in this? I'd say the same thing for movie theaters, is that like, what do you normally see them programming? Do you see them programming independent cinema, low budget cinema? What are they? They're generally programming big budget.
And do they do any specialty nights for the community? Like a, Weirdo Wednesday, $5 Tuesday, something, blah, blah, blah. Are they catering to the community nearby that they understand the community's needs? Then they'll do something for you. If they don't,
right. Or even there's just not enough slots. There's not enough screens. And so that's why we need more screens to even have a conversation about Weirdo Wednesday or midnight, screenings. You can't even have that conversation without having more screens throughout, not just like in one concentrated area, but throughout every single. We have to be able to support. The cinema industry desperately needs exhibition. I really do believe that.
What do you say to someone who says, well, we don't need more movie theaters. People aren't going to the movies.
Oh, I don't believe that. Have you been to the movie theaters recently? This is going to be a wild summer. I could believe that. Because I go to the movie theaters quite often, but now I'm in the theater, and no matter what time of day it is generally packed, and that's amazing because of the quality of films that are coming out. There's something, and I think it needed to be that we're like, streaming now is such a normal part of our life. It's not something new and exciting. It's just normal. And so we can return back to the cinema in the pandemic. Has been a few years now. I think we're like, oh, no. It's a pie chart. It's like we can set aside a slice for streaming and for exhibition. And I think you just make time in your day for that because it's cool to go to the movie theaters again. And that's just how people are. It's like this funny thing that Dwayne Johnson, The Rock, said, like, it's cool to watch WWE. And he is right. There's new audiences watching pro wrestling, and I'm one of them. It's cool to watch this stuff again. I haven't watched it since the 90s, and now I am. But I think it's the same thing with cinema. It's like, it's the cool thing to do. Going on a date, hanging out with friends. It is what it is. And I think there were some bigger films, like, Barbie helped with that, and Oppenheimer, to get people back in the theater. But now we're back, and I personally think it's like, wait, why did we leave?
Yeah, I mean, I'll say this. Oppenheimer, Barbenheimer, those two big projects got people into the movies. And then last year, we didn't have as many, The Brutalists, sure, but it was more niche last year. It was a bit of a down in terms of, like, big, like, compared to 2023. But I think this was a step forward to get people to go, okay, let me start seeing different things and expanding their palettes and trying different things. And then, of course, now, Sinners, Ryan Coogler's film, amazing in terms of not just his deal, which that's amazing for filmmaking, but the fact that we are now starting to getting to a point where we, the consumer, understands the studio's business model. Like, limited theatrical, then go to streaming. But if it's really fucking good, okay, we're going to bring this back to theatrical. Like, Sinners, like, we need more IMAX. Like, there's only, like, a handful. It's, like, less than a dozen, whatever, in the entire city. Like, okay, I want to see it in 70 millimeter. I want to see this. No, you have to see it this way. We know watching a film is an immersive experience. It's an activity. You're there to pay attention, like, put the phone down. But it's another thing where it's like, and you said it, it's cool to do this by yourself, on a date, with family, with friends, with your groups, your coworkers, what have you. Let's go see this. And I do agree we need more screens because I found, and this is purely anecdotal, I found that throughout the demographics and ranges in terms of ages, people who've told me to my face in the Bronx, whether I'm wearing this cap or shirt or a badge or a wristband or whatnot, who have said, well, people aren't really going to the movies anymore. When I asked them, when's the last time you went to one? It's been a while. So you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. So.
It's true. It's just like, it just depends on where you are. But I know that, and I'm not talking about my circle. I'm just like, I see it. It's like the door just keeps opening up when you're at Regal or AMC. And it's so much fun. And I just think that, and again, in order for the film industry to keep evolving and to keep growing, just all the things, you have to teach people how to exist in the cinema. That's not something that's natural anymore. I think it was before. Now you have to teach this generation how to be in the cinema.
Yeah.
turn off your phones.
Concentrate.
Get through a 2-hour film. If there's a Q&A, ask a question.
Yeah.
Just like feel all these things. These are things that have to be taught.
Stay for the post credits.
Right, because because if you've been growing up in the streaming era, you can pause, you can go to the bathroom, you could eat loudly, you could eat whatever you want. I was like, we have to teach people how to be in the cinema again.
There's a certain decorum.
Oh, yeah, this is why I'm so glad that, quite honestly, I feel like there's like a revolution that's happening. Something is happening underground.
Change is coming.
But between you, me, Emmeline Stewart, there's a lovely woman in Brooklyn who is building a movie theater that is dedicated to shorts. It's called the Short Cinema.
Want to have her on the podcast?
No, 1,000%. Just to show shorts all the time. Because we're technically talking about feature films here.
Right. We are.
But what about short films, experimental films? All of these things are niche, but there are hundreds of thousands of filmmakers. Their first film is a short film. Mm-hmm. What happens to those? And short films are amazing. It's such an easy thing to actually, with this younger generation, to teach them how to watch short films and a short package and to understand the underlying theme of these shorts. It's just there's so much more work that needs to be done, and I think that's why I feel like the focus feels, from my perspective, to always be around the making of the movie. And I was like, but then what? You have to, I pray that it is filmmakers that start, like Emmeline Stewart, who's a producer, filmmaker, start to build their own cinema in their own spaces, no matter what that looks like.
And Emmeline's bringing a second space.
Yeah, in Brownsville. So I've said many times that, we have cinema deserts, and there's like the adjacent communities. So Canarsie is a cinema desert, East New York's a cinema desert, Brownsville's a cinema desert. There are so many cinema deserts. I believe Coney Island is also a cinema desert. And
these places, some of these spaces have film festivals, but no like cinema. Then they have to like rent out like, certain like arts spaces.
And this is what I don't understand. I was like, what? It's because we don't talk about exhibition enough. And there are amazing conferences for this. There's the Art House Convergence, which is dedicated to independent cinema owners. And then there are, and it's literally my school. It is my school of learning. Thank goodness for the Art House Convergence. And then there's CinemaCon, which is like, the dedicated to the multiplexes, and also a school for me as well, but on a completely different level. But yeah, they have great resources.
Color Congress as well.
Oh, I didn't even know about that one.
we got to talk about the Color Congress. Definitely, I would encourage you to apply to become a member, and they highlight you. And there's also like a gathering in Chicago, I think in September, that they're paying, like they pay for you to go.
Oh, really?
And it's like there's like weekly and bi-weekly check-ins. Very supportive. So I want to get back to cons and South by Southwest. Well, we spoke about cons. You spoke on a panel for film education in terms of like children at South by Southwest, a 90-minute panel. Can you talk a little bit about that? I want to, follow that up after cons.
Yes. Oh, well, really quickly for cons, if you go cans, make sure you try a lot of gelato, because that's all. I had like 3 gelatos per day. I have shameless with it, and that, I have no shame whatsoever. Great films, take risks. See something that you may not see in the States. That's like one of the big, and also don't forget to say yes. Say yes. South by Southwest was an incredible opportunity that a friend of mine from the film festival circuit, she gave to me. She offered to me. She ran this incredible program at Emerson College, showcasing different films and giving filmmakers an opportunity to be highlighted, and these beautiful stories from around the world to be highlighted. And she's just an incredible, like Anna Fetter is an incredible advocate for cinema and human beings. And anyway, she took a liking to me, thank goodness. And she gave me a chance to speak on her panel. And she had been watching my story, as a lot of my friends are, and they're like seeing what I'm doing. And she's like, yeah, I run a 90-minute film school, and I'd love to have you speak on a panel with other, creatives from the film world. And this was the first time I felt like I had brought PaleFO Cinema to a main stage. I mean, like, we speak about Cannes, but it's also like South by Southwest. To be a panelist there is huge. And I just graduated from the new school. I just got my first grants. Everything was like, there was momentum that was really being built up. and I felt like I was flying. I was like on cloud 9.
And where is South by Southwest for our
Yeah,
listeners?
Austin, Texas, keeping it weird. The most colorful. It's such a colorful place. It's such an amazing city, and I always joke that like I can't imagine what the locals think of us coming in because we take over, and it's like everything is South by. But it's literally one of my top film festivals for so many things. Their programming is incredible. But yeah, I spoke on this panel, and I really was just honest and raw about my feelings about cinema, as I'm doing now with you, and what PaleFO means, the genesis of it, and also who I am, and like all the questions that you've been asking me here is like, you know, how did you get, what was your entry point, and what is the point? Like, why Canarsie? Why are you fighting so hard for it? I was explaining this to the audience, and I think for me, it's like when you have, if anybody just gives you time to speak, it's like, how are you gonna make it count? Like, to make it count. And I think I did a really good job at representing my childhood community, at speaking about what my intentions are in the cinema exhibition world, and what am I trying to do here, and where do I need help. And I think the audience was riveted, and they were kind of like taken aback because they were like, oh, here we are at a film festival showing all these amazing films. Is there a problem in the cinema industry? And I'm like, yes, there is. Because there are a group of people who don't have access to movie theaters. There are a group of people who are being said, your story is deserving to be on the screen. But that doesn't actually make sense. Because if my story was deserving, if I were deserving, my people were deserving, then why is my neighborhood lacking all of these amazing, rich arts and cultural activities? Where are they? Who? So it's not making sense, and I wanted to be very clear about that. And I'll be honest with you, I was freaking out before I got on that panel.
Oh my God, tell me more about this. Yes.
So I didn't realize, because I'm so new to this is going to be really silly, but you can obviously put notes into your Google slide. There's a section where you can just put your notes in. I didn't do that. I memorized my entire 10-minute script. Like I kept reading it over and over again. And my son,
how long did it take you to do that?
I couldn't even tell you. I was in the hotel like freaking out, and my son at the time, he was like 16, and he was watching me. He was like, you are going to be late. We need to get there. And I was freaking out. I was like, I don't remember. Like every time I was reading it, I was forgetting like what my mission statement was, who I am. And we just kept repeating it, and I was like so frustrated, and I was like Bridezilla, like that's what I was. I was like,
oh my God.
Festivalzilla. I was like, please don't talk to me.
Festivalzilla. We need to put this on a t-shirt.
I was Festivalzilla.
Yes.
I was terrible.
Yes.
My son was like, you're being so mean. I was like, I need you to help me, but I was like, also stop talking to me because I need to remember the script.
Oh my God, yeah.
But then I get into the lift, and I'm still repeating it. The driver looks to me before we get out of the car. She was like, girl, you got this. You got this. And then I get out, and I was like, thank you. I really needed to hear that. And my son's like, are you kidding me?
I've been telling
you this for the past 3 hours. So
why do women do that to boys?
I don't know.
It's a gender thing.
It's like woman to woman. I hear you.
I've been saying it.
So I get on the stage, and what's funny is I watch a couple of panelists go before me, and I'm seeing them at the podium reading their notes, and I'm like, are you kidding me?
So they had like index cards.
Oh
and
yeah,
Google
they were like
Slides.
they were comfortable. They were like, wait, go back to slide. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention that. So and I was like,
that's confidence.
But then I got there, and it just came, and I was like, Eileen, you are PaleFO Cinema. And I know that some people say that you have to actually separate yourself from your brand. You have to be very careful for work-life balance. But I was like, but I know who I am, and this is me, and I just spoke from my heart. What came out of that was I met a lovely person. Katie became my logo designer, and she came to me and she was like, hey, I love what you're doing, and I am a graphic designer and a brand designer, and I'd love to help you pro bono. I was like, what? Say that again? And she's like, yeah, I want to help you. And I actually just posted on my Instagram today. She rebranded my logo. My son was the first person that did my logo. It's a megaphone, and it just says PaleFO, which is to speak up in Haitian Creole. It's to amplify your voice. So amplify your voice for cinema, PaleFO. And the megaphone is my symbol. But I had it redesigned by a friend of my mother's, a Haitian designer. Johnny took the megaphone and incorporated this beautiful design that Haitian art is known for. Like if you're looking like the voodoo arts culture, there's all like these windy, swirly lines, and the voodoo heart that has like snakes and like machetes coming out of it. And he intertwined like that beautiful Haitian voodoo art into the megaphone. And from there, Katie took that and, I don't want to say simplified it, but made it for a logo so that it's more brandable, if I could say that. And it was beautiful. Like she managed to make it something that like it feels iconic. Now the original design from Johnny still for me is always going to be the original. It's so beautiful. And it's how I feel on the inside. But you know, when you're presenting, you don't present all over the place. You know, you're not bringing all the colors. You have to bring it in a little bit so that your message is clear, so that the person can understand it. Because not everybody can understand PaleFO. Right. Not everybody. When you start talking about cinema deserts, it's just sometimes it becomes very complex. So you learn as an entrepreneur, as a presenter, you learn how to speak many languages to tell your story, and that's kind of what the logo is. The logo is more digestible, but it still has hints of the Haitian culture for me, and like the revolution of cinema that it has to happen, and it is happening with people like you, me, and all the other people, the Evelyn Stewarts of the world. Like it is happening, it is necessary, but that's what's South by. I got out of that. I got a really dope designer who believes in me and doesn't know me from a can of paint, and that's the power of cinema and connection, is that I told my story about film, and somebody was there in the room, and that it captivated them, and she helped me, and she continues to help me in the time that she has, and she's a very busy woman, and you know, you find ways to pay it forward. But I was like, you know, you do nothing on your own. Nothing is truly on your own. You're with people that are guiding you along the way, and that's truly why I'm still able to do what I do now. You know, so
that's awesome. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah, South by is a trip. Definitely, check it out.
That's definitely a certain list of festivals. You know, Sundance, South by Southwest, you know, cons, and then obviously TIFF.
I mean, but I must be clear that my favorite film festival is Camden International Film Festival, and that's the hat that you've seen me in many times. It's a documentary festival in Camden and Rockland, Maine. It's a small festival doing big things. And it's family for me. It's the first place that I volunteered. It's the first festival that gave me an actual staff role. And so years later, everybody knows that it is my favorite film festival.
Love it. So we're twins. You're developing a cinema space in Canarsie, Brooklyn. Whenever I hear Canarsie, have you ever seen Boardwalk Empire?
No.
Okay,
I've heard about this story though.
There's an actor, Bobby Cannavale, really good actor, and he plays like Chip Rossetti in season 3 of Boardwalk Empire, and he goes on a tirade in like the very first episode or second episode of the season during a New Year's party amongst gangsters. That's the important context. There's gangsters there, and he's just insulting everybody from Manhattan, Brooklyn, Jersey, Philadelphia, Chicago. And when he gets to Brooklyn, he goes like, "What are you gonna do for me with your rat hole infested bar in Canarsie? You got nothing for me." Every time I think of Canarsie, I think of that amazing tire he roasts everything. Anyway, he doesn't make it out of that season alive. So I'm doing the same in Fordham in the Bronx, and we're on this journey together. We're both looking to bring cinema spaces. What has your journey, if you share more about your journey in making this endeavor a reality, like specifically, what have been your greatest challenges, your biggest supporters, and then also share some wins. It's so important we share wins. So challenges, supporters, wins.
Okay, so the pandemic happened. Every film festival either closed its doors or went online.
Right.
But because my role at a film festival is generally venue manager, the person, or volunteer manager, the person that is supervising the venue, there was no position for me.
Yep.
So I was like, okay, what am I going to do in this time? Well, I am very serious. I spent so many years on the film festival circuits, treating it as a university of learning how to run my own movie theater. Quickly learned that's not actually how you run your own movie theater. You're actually just learning how to be like a manager, if anything. But a movie theater is a business. And everybody kept telling me like, well, you need to learn how to run a business, not necessarily how to be a venue manager. But it's great that you've been on the circuit for so long. So I was like, you know what? Let me go back to graduate school. And I applied for a fellowship that they had. So the new school has the like an entrepreneurship that they call it the IEI fellowship, where you can apply and get some funding to pay off your tuition, but they're going to teach you how to become a social impact entrepreneur, how to take a project and give social impact to it, right? And I was accepted. And then I also received a President's Scholarship. So I barely paid a cent for graduate school. And that was great because...
That's a win.
Yeah, it was a huge win. That's a great win.
Yeah.
You know, because I was like, what? And the person that convinced me, there were two people that convinced me, but one of them, Nada Martinez, I call her like my fairy godmother. After I was done with my 2 years at the new school studying in their public engagement department under the media management program, right before I graduated, right before I did my capstone, AKA thesis, I applied for a grant. It's the Safe in the City grant from the Mayor's Office of Criminal Justice. And she helped me to apply for this grant. She knew what I was trying to do here with cinema, and she reviewed my grant. I got the grant. And I got the grant for $8,000. It was a $10,000 grant. $8,000? And in order to apply, I wasn't sure yet, but I had met one of those fiery people that I told you about in Canarsie, like a firecracker, Harold Jones from the CCDI. It's the Canarsie Community Development Inc. And it's an organization that's all about supporting things that are in Canarsie, like elevating, revitalizing Canarsie, protecting the heart of Canarsie. He's the founder. He's the executive director, and he became my fiscal sponsor. So I applied for the grant. He's my fiscal sponsor. Nada Martinez, my professor, reviewed it. I got it, and I'm tapped in. Take this $8,000, and I applied because I was like, I'm gonna buy cinema equipment. I'm gonna buy outdoor cinema equipment. Yeah. But then I was like, or am I going to use this money to find somebody that knows how to run outdoor cinema equipment? And that's what I did. So I did that the first year. And like, you're like, Eileen, where did you decide to screen? Obviously in Canarsie, but where in Canarsie? I chose NYCHA, New York Housing Authority, because New York City Housing Authority. I chose to be in the NYCHA spaces because I feel as though in any community, if there's a housing development, it's as if it's a different community within a community. It's like the way that people that live in housing developments, they're treated so differently. They're treated so differently than people that like own homes or in private housing, and that makes me sick to my stomach. NYCHA is New York City. If something happened to NYCHA, if NYCHA did not exist, you're talking about hundreds of thousands of people that would be without housing. And there is a housing crisis that is happening. That's a separate conversation. But, you know, to treat people that live in housing developments as if they're like some kind of third-class citizen is unacceptable.
Treating people like they're expendable.
Unacceptable. Yeah. Especially because the folks that live in NYCHA literally are New York City. They are the fabric of New York City. They are the people that make New York City what it is. Like, literally, they are New York City. And
NYCHA projects back in the day, but decades ago, veterans would live there, and it used to be taken care of. Like,
of course.
Your GI Bill, your NYCHA.
Yes.
Certain housing that now is for senior citizens, like baseball players used to live there.
And there are people that see it as like a legacy opportunity to like pass on the apartment to their other, their future generations. And there are other people who are like, well, NYCHA is just a stepping stone for me to move on and have my own home or something like that. But regardless of that, NYCHA is the fabric, the foundation of New York City, most housing developments throughout this country. That's what I believe. And it's supposed to be a safe haven. But we know the story of public housing as well, that what is supposed to be a safe haven oftentimes is not. And there's crime that happens, and there's gang violence, and there's a lack of, even within those neighborhoods, it could be sometimes food deserts, cinema deserts. There's so much that is missing from the very spaces that deserve so much more. And so I thought to myself, you know what? Even in Canarsie, folks in Canarsie, some have some ill things to say about people that live in the projects. And I was like, you know what? If I'm going to start screening films for free, quality films for free, I'm going to do it in NYCHA. And I went to my first happy experience, happy moment, I want to say was not Disney World. I want to say was the daycare that I grew up in Brook Ellen houses in Canarsie. And so I was like, I'm going to do it at the daycare, which is like the diamond in the rough in the community. Like everybody goes through that daycare. And it's the best place on earth. Truly, I say that all the time. I had my son go there, and my son's dad, I remember him saying, like, why are we putting our son in a daycare in Brook Ellen houses? And I was like, because it is a great place, and we're not going to talk about it anymore. And my son's favorite memories are also in Brook Ellen houses. So I felt like that needed to be that was the right space to do it, and we did it. I got a cinema rental company to come in. They inflated the screen, press play, pop popcorn. And I was like, wow, I did it a full summer in the neighborhood that summer, I think it was like 2022, was known as like one of the bloodiest summers in a long time. There was quite a bit of shootings that happened near the L train, and it was a tough time for that summer, but it was an amazing experience. For those that attended, we had people in the building, their kids were looking through the window. Yeah. They were like, what? I was like, this is so cool. This is so cool. That one person said, why did you choose to show films here? Why us?
Was it somebody in the neighborhood?
Somebody in the neighborhood questioned. And this is why I do what I do, because when you try to break the spirit of people or people in total, it's like you've won when those very people start to question why good things are coming into their neighborhood. Why us? Why here? Why would you do that? You crazy? And it's just like, no. We need to rewind. We need to literally like reset your whole entire mindset. This is not okay. Do not let them win. Never. And so, we had that. We had one person stuck. I feel like I'm in Central Park. What?
Yeah, I love that.
I love
Films
it.
on the green.
What are you talking about?
Did you get a lot of press for this?
I got local press. So like
York,
Canarsie Courier is the oldest running like local newspaper. It's like 100 years old. They covered us, and that to me, again, I'm really local. Like I was like, I made it to the New York Times. Like Canarsie Courier, like this is a newspaper that I would read as a kid. Like it is long lasting, and they covered my story. We had another local paper cover us in Starrett City. My friend is the chief editor, and she wrote a beautiful piece on what we did there. And it was amazing. It was an amazing summer. And that fired me up. But what it also made me realize is like, oh, snap, I got a grant. I applied for a grant. I got it. I did what I said I was going to do. I did it in my childhood community. What is happening here? I don't want to stop. I got to keep going.
Making the dream happen.
So I applied for another grant. But this time, because what happened is the summer ended, and I realized the money was gone, the memories lasted, but that there was no equipment. And I was like, oh, snap. Eileen, you should have bought equipment. Ownership is key, Eileen. So then the next grant that I got from the same Safe in the City grant, they gave me $10,000 this time. They gave me the full amount. And with that amount, I bought my speakers, I got like all the things that I needed. And to top it off, that year, the following year, in April, I had gone to CinemaCon. And a friend of mine, convinced me to go into the trade show area where NEC Sharp was. And they were like, pitch, tell them what you need, go for it. And I did. I was like, so my name's Eileen Level, PaleFO Cinema, and we're looking for a quality projector because this time around I want to, run my own equipment. But how much would this cost? And they were like, you don't have money, do you? I was like, not really. And they were like, okay, we'll do you one better. We love your story, but this is the cost and good luck, but stay in touch with me. I was like, okay, fine. I emailed them after CinemaCon, and he was like, Eileen, with further thought, we want to do a case study on you. And in exchange, we're going to give you a refurbished, beautiful 10,000 lumen projector.
That's what you need.
And he was like, this will work at night.
You need 10,000 lumens to screen it.
Yeah, no, because you especially when you're outside with all that ambient light, like you're screening in a place that has a lot of street lights. Even if it's like past 8:30, you're getting those street lights. It's going to impact your screening. But he's like, this will help. This will help. And I was like, what? So now we have the projector. We have this incredible in-kind donation from Sharp NEC, and we have the money from Safe in the City, which we can afford the film licenses, so I can legally screen films. And I got my son, who learned how to use the equipment, and my son's dad is helping, and my mom, she's like taking photos, and it's like a full family business. And the second year around, we did it, and to take it a step further, the Tenants Association at Brook Ellen Houses just got a new president, Nigel Dupree, and he loved what he was like. I love what you're doing. Thank you, and I want to help. He got me volunteers. He rolled up his sleeves, put out chairs with me. Everybody was locked in. We had Noreen Mendas, who runs, the CC, basically CMA, which is Canarsie Merchants Association. Mm-hmm. She's all about supporting the merchants in Canarsie and stimulating economic development. She and I partner, so every time I did like a trivia during the pre-shows before the film, we give out gift certificates to specific local shops in Canarsie to promote shopping locally. So like instead of like winning a gift card to like Amazon or Target or something, it was like, no, you're winning a $25 gift card to go to the local Trinidadian restaurant or the jeweler spot here or here, here, here. And I was like, oh my God, this is a beautiful ecosystem. Everybody's involved. And, and every year since then, we're going on our fifth year, I believe. And now it's changing. So we're going from lugging, I don't even drive. Okay, I don't drive. So
say that again.
I don't drive a car. I'm such a New Yorker. So how do you think I'm getting this equipment around? Oh my God, it's so ghetto. I would literally put all my equipment into like a cart, put it into an accessible. I'd have to like go to Lyft and choose the accessible driving option. The biggest that I can find. Every time these drivers would pull up, they'd be like, oh no, because I'm putting all of this storage into the back of their car. I'm holding my very expensive projector. I'm holding the popcorn machine. My son is holding something else. And we're like in the car. And I'm like, oh my God, we just got to get through this night. And then the night happens again. We're sweating, we're hugging. And every time it's like a massive win for us because we just got through another one. But oh my God, super choppy experiences. Super choppy. The sound wouldn't be working, but thank goodness we'd have subtitles, or we wouldn't have subtitles and we'd be showing like a Japanese film. And every night was like, oh my God, the audience will never show up for me again. But every single night, there'd be somebody that come up to me and they'd be like, we see you. We see what you're doing.
How many times a week do you do it? How many nights?
In the summer, we do it like every other weekend. And because it's also like trying to, because the thing was, because I'd be working off of a grant, there's only so many films I could screen in the summer because I'm paying for the film license. Exactly. And you're talking about anywhere from $150 to $225. Well, they could. I found, like that deal with Swank Entertainment.
Yeah, Swank. Swank is such a sketchy name. I'm sorry. It sounds like a drug. Like, hey, you're on that crank. Swank.
No, what's so funny is when I first got into this, people were like, "Oh, Swank is so expensive." But for me, I felt like I was a part of the gang now. I was like playing with the big boys and girls.
But is there an alternative?
Well, the thing is, Swank offers a deal where if you can promise that you're going to show up to 6 films or 8 films or 12 films, then every license becomes less expensive. So instead of paying like $350 or $450, well, Eileen, are you promising that you're going to show 6 screenings? I'm like, yeah. All right, then now you're down to $225. If you show more, you're down a little bit more. And because that's all I knew at the time, that's basically what I went with, because I just wanted to go with something that like I felt comfortable with. They have an incredibly large catalog. They're lovely to work with. And it's the grant's money. It's not my personal money. It's a grant. Right. So like it has to be spent. This is what I know, and this is the films that the community has chosen. So this is what we're going with. But that's also
for those of you who have grants, you have to do a grant report.
You have to show what you spent this money on, as you should. I would hope that I'd be asked what I'm using the money for.
Right. But that's good to know that Swank offers like discounts if you're doing all things. I was not aware of that, so thank you. And then they send you, and then you become a part of their community as well, because then they send you a large package like every few months, and they show you the catalogs and kind of like how to program it. I really do like it, even though it's sometimes slightly out of my budget, but it's interesting how they can work with you in that way. So fast forward to applying for grants and, going from renting equipment to owning equipment, only being able to do a certain amount of screenings based on the budget that I have, to now taking it a step further and
I was like, I can't, I'm human. I can't keep, my son went to his first year he's in his first year of college. I was like, I can't even do screenings without him because my son mastered all the equipment while I was doing more of the showmanship.
Yeah, exactly.
The partnership, the grants,
shoulder, mingling.
But what I realized is I didn't even know how to use my equipment at one point.
I was about to say, did he teach? Did you have like an intern and he taught them?
Okay, so check this out.
Or did he teach you?
A person from Art House Convergence, because Art House Convergence is a collective of independent cinema owners. I reached out to the network. I met a couple of people. One person in particular just really felt for me, and he was like, all right, you're starting from scratch. He was like, I'm going to show you. I'm not in New York City, but I'm going to teach you how to run your own equipment. But because I'm starting the show, I'm like, Julian, take the phone. I said this to my son. My son gets on the phone with this veteran cinema exhibitor. And they're like, he's being so tough with my son. He's like, no, I said press the red button, Julian. And my son's like, oh, I don't know. But it was the most hilarious thing because my son is basically leveling up. He is 16 Eileen Level, and he is leveling up right there and learning how to use equipment that he's never known how to use before. But then that was really important because that moment he changed. At that moment, nobody could touch the projector. Nobody could touch any of the equipment. He is like the AV tech supervisor. He's like, no. Do not let volunteers, even if they're from the community, they cannot touch the equipment. Sharp NEC gave us this donation. If anything happens to it, it's like a slap in the face. We have to, so he's like super protective.
Future TD at Technical.
Oh my gosh, he's incredible. And I'm so thankful for him. But when you say like, has he taught other people? That's where I was like, Julian, you can teach other people. So this is what the evolution looks like. I was like, what if I need more staff? And I don't want everybody to forever be volunteers. I was like, what if we worked with DYCD and we got some SYP workers? They would get paid from the city. My son could teach them how to use the equipment, including me. And we can have ages 18 to 24 in their own community learning how to basically produce their own cinema equipment, own cinema screenings. And that's the beauty. Because I'm not going to be here forever. What is the evolution? How are we teaching other people? The point is that not that PaleFO Cinema becomes an Alamo Drafthouse or a Regal. Right. My goal has always been that the torch is passed on.
Self-sufficient.
You have to continue to talk about cinema exhibition far after me. That we should never stop talking about it. And the only way to do that is to teach people how to run their own cinema screenings. Because then they'll do it. I think we need to work almost like not in the way of like teach somebody how to make a film for it. No, don't teach, because where are they screening it? Teach somebody how to run a screening. Just have them learn, teach them how to screen a film. Why did you choose that film? And for who, why did you choose horror films? Well, because I'm a teenager and I think like all of my friends like horror films. I think they're gonna show up. All right, great, perfect. That's a great answer. But now how are you gonna show this? Is it gonna be on a wall? Is it gonna be like a white sheet? Or is it gonna be an inflatable? How are we doing this? It's not that hard. You just you need a projector to screen, you need a film, you need to press play and screen it onto something. It's not hard. So then I started taking it further. I was like, this is possible. We can get SYP. And also, I'm really tired of lugging around equipment. I'm so tired. It's also not great for the equipment to move it around that way.
You need a protected padded bags.
You need all the things. You need all the things. And I'm so scrappy do and figuring things like as I go.
A mag liner to carry, wheel it.
All the things. And you learn these things as you go along. You speak to like-minded people that have more experience than you. But I thought to myself, Eileen, this is why I love being human, because as much as your dreams will take you to far places, your body will tell you when it's time to pause or like how you need to pivot. And I just found myself, I was like, I am going to wear myself out physically. And I love this so much. I'd like to do this for the next few days. I'd like to grow old and pass in the theater. I'd like to be like the 70th anniversary of Titanic with Leonardo DiCaprio. I want to just fall asleep and then just drift off, and like one of my ushers tasked me, oh my God, Miss Level is passed. That's how much I love the cinema. But I was like, but how can you do this? And there was a specific building. It's the Jerry building. It's one of the most iconic buildings in Canarsie. It's been around for decades. And it has a massive brick wall and I said to myself, and it's right in the parking lot. It's in a Department of Transportation parking lot. So you get off the L train on the last stop and you actually walk right into parking lot. And the parking lot has the building. And I was like, that's a pretty big wall. And then like a light bulb went off, and I was like, I want this wall.
Yes.
And not the building, because the Canarsie, cause some people may be thinking, well, what happened to Canarsie movie theater? Where is that building? Like, what is it? Nothing's happening with that building. But in order to get that building, you need $5 million. You need millions of dollars. It's been completely gutted since 2003. And I was like, okay, Eileen, you can spend the rest of your life, or a part of it, trying to raise funds, capital, and do, but or you could pivot. And that's the beauty of being an entrepreneur, or that's the beauty of having an idea. Sometimes you're so stuck to that one idea. I saw what my movie theater would look like. Oh my God, I saw the marquee and the lights, but that was keeping me stuck. I was like, I want it to be just like that. And because I wanted it to be just like that, I was not moving. But Eileen, you don't have millions of dollars. You don't have a core team. This is not even realistic. Now you're just playing with dreams. You want this to stay a dream, and you want this to be a reality. How can you pivot? And so I saw that wall, and I was like, there goes my pivot. I want this wall. I want to screen I want to screen movies in this parking lot, and I want everybody to see it. I want people to pass by and say, what's happening over here? Why here? Keep asking me those questions. And then while you're asking, come sit down, grab some popcorn, like sit down and watch this movie. And I was like, that's the one. And that's how that journey began, because now you have to get the wall. And that's the story in itself.
Awesome. And just really quick, that's very inspiring. I also love how thorough you've envisioned your death. It's, dare I say, cinematic. So that leads me to my next question. Dying in a movie theater, you're a cinephile. How many hours a week do you work? Because you have your job, you have PaleFO, you have...
I have AniTOMO.
AniTOMO, you're a mother.
And I have a friend and a daughter, and I have bags under my eyes. I'm not going to lie to you. Like, I gouache the fudge out of my bags, and it doesn't go anywhere. I'm just like, come away. I work all the time, every single day, like on all
6 days a week?
7.
7.
I work every day. And I think that sometimes my friends don't even fully understand what I do. They like joke like, oh, where in the world is Eileen Level? It's like the Carmen Sandiego tune. Do you know that? Like from the 90s, right? And it's just like, where are you now? Like, oh, great, she's in Cannes. Like, sure. Like, where are you going next? Like Eileen, like sometimes it's really hard to, I think about dating, and this is like such a sidestep of like, if I meet somebody, like explaining what I do I feel like it 1000% overwhelmed them. I was like, wait, I'm just confused. What do you do? And the funny thing is that I do it all. And sometimes I wake up and I'm like, but what do you love doing the most? But the thing is, I love all of them. But really, PaleFO is number one for me. Yeah, it's just that PaleFO Cinema doesn't pay the bills yet.
Right, yeah.
And so I think that, you know, I have to keep my full-time job as a head of, like, director of teens and young adults at a community center in East New York. And then AniTOMO is a year-round of pop-up events and my convention that celebrates the cross-cultural exchange between Brooklyn and Japanese culture. And all these things are happening all at once. And I don't understand how I do it all, to be honest. But yeah, I work all the time.
For someone who also like works all the time, it's sheer will, determination, and a little bit of insanity.
Oh, 1000%. I was hoping you were going to say that. I was like, and a little bit of what? 1000%.
Because you're doing a lot of the same things. Like, this is going to be a different result. I'm eventually going to break through. But then also, you're pivoting. You're doing different things.
Yeah, I was like, maybe like we're like Einsteins, but like in terms of like the creative world, you're just a little bit of like genius madness, because it's just like, it never stops. It never stops. Yeah.
So you're black, you're mixed, black, Haitian, and white French. So Haitian mom, white French father. How do you balance being a parent and a mixed founder and champion and a creative space maker?
So
She's black.
Oh my goodness. Like, you know, it's so funny. The conversation about, that's another podcast for another time. The conversation about being mixed race in this society. I always say, like, you know, it's one of those things where I'm like, you gotta you gotta tell your whole story, right? You can't like only tell one part of it. If I only spoke about PaleFO Cinema and not all the other things, then I'd only be telling, it's almost like you'd be lying. Like, you'd only be telling one part of your story. But yeah, being a mixed race creator and a mom and all these things, it's so It's a lot. It's really interesting. But I blend all those things. I wouldn't even have the name PaleFO. That's a Haitian, French, Creole. It's all of it. I wouldn't even have that without my upbringing. So it's this beautiful part of me that I lead with. Like, you know, I always tell people, like, it's my mom that would say to me, "Ou parle trop fort," like you talk too loud, and I'm always like, "You talk too loud." I didn't say that.
What does PaleFO mean?
Yeah, that's what it means. You talk
Talking
loud.
too loud?
Yeah, 1,000%. Like my voice is super projected, and like sometimes you like see the veins here and here, and that's like my normal speaking voice, and I got that from my mom.
Oh.
Like she definitely transferred that to me. Haitian people are so loud, but in the most beautiful way. Caribbean people, we're so vibrant and loud, and I think
that it was like enunciation or something, like speaking too loud. I was like, okay.
Yeah, no, like parler is to speak.
Speak.
Right, and that's in French and in Haitian Creole, and then fort is like loud. So that's why I was like, oh, so when my mom would say this to me, I was like, oh my God, that's the name.
I thought it meant like
Cinema.
speak up, like enunciate. Okay.
Yeah, like speak up. This is like really
Speaking
like
up.
when you're gonna talk about
Speaking
cinema,
up.
be loud
Yeah,
about it.
okay.
But that's PaleFO about everything. Like, are you like be a PaleFO for everything that you do? And yeah, but I think that as a mom, you know, I'll start with the mixed race piece. It's just so funny because whether people see me as mixed race or black, no one's ever going to see me as white, because that's the funny thing about race, right? Is that white people do not see me as white in any way, shape, or form. Some black people may sometimes see me as like you kind of give white, Eileen, but like we know that you're mixed, or they say that like even though you're a white girl, like we see you as black, and like it's always been like an interesting conversation. And for me, I think that like that's something for other people to deal with, and it gets projected onto me. But me, I always have known who I am. Like I grew up in a very much Haitian French household, and I'm so proud of to be a part of both those cultures, and so proud to be who I am, and I lead with that wholeheartedly. But when I am talking about my brand, I am that much more excited to talk about Haitian culture. And some people may think, well, like, does that mean that PaleFO is going to screen films from Haiti? Not necessarily. It's just that I'm saying that the culture that I grew up in has defined who I am and how I show up to the world, openly and proudly, in all the things and all the colors that I am. And that's like the most I can say about like how my race and my culture has defined me and brought PaleFO Cinema to life. And I also think about that even with my AniTOMO convention. I think it's really important that it's just like that relationship between multiple cultures, how beautiful that is, to mix everybody in that way and to share ideas. Everything is mixed. When we talk about cinema, it's a shared relationship.
Right.
There's like this beautiful selflessness that like I am sharing my story with you. You are going to listen, and if I'm lucky, and if you're ready, you're going to give me something back. But all of that gets mixed together, and it's just this beautiful connection. But you have to make the effort to walk into the movie theater. You got to make the effort to listen. You got to make the movie. You have to get it. All the things have to meet in the middle.
And that's why getting out of your house.
Yeah, exactly.
Out of your home.
And that's not always easy. But that's why, like, when it comes to my race, I'm like, oh, no. I am 1,000% always going to lead with, like, I am biracial. And I'm so proud to be both of those parts of myself. Because if I only told you one, that's not my full story. And that's not meeting in the middle. And that's not sharing all of who I am. And, like, the time that we have here, I know it seems cliche, but it is short.
Right.
It's so short. This conversation is going to be a blip. It's gonna be done before I know it. Even though right now, like, you could feel the energy. It's so palpable. It's everything. It's happening. You're vibrating in here, right? But then it's gone and it passes. So like, but here I am being very open and very honest and transparent. So you got to make it count. But now when we talk about being a mom, oh my goodness, I've already talked about it. Like Julian is PaleFO. I dragged him around from day one. He has been my cheerleader. And not only do I trust him at a young age to review my grants, I would read it to him. Then I'd have him read it sometimes and make comments, change some things, tell me like, well, how did that sound? Like, what do you think? Him learning how to use the popcorn machine, the projector, basically everything, like all the things. He puts up the inflatable screen. He does all this like within 15 minutes. It is a marvel to watch my son do this, but like, no, he's became my sidekick. You know, he's my only son. I'm an only child. He's an only child. And I'm like that with my mom. Like, she took me along to everything, and I take my son everywhere, and He does all the things. And the funny thing is, he's studying to be an animator. And I feel like, oh, of course, because you grew up in a household where there was so much art everywhere, Haitian art, all the paintings in our home. Oh my goodness. So Julian grew up around a lot of art and traveling and being exposed to this, but then he grew up in the cinema like I did.
Where does he go to college now?
He goes to SCAD, Savannah College of Art and Design. And they have two locations. They have the Atlanta location, and then they have the Savannah location. And it's a pretty well-known school for animation.
So Savannah, Georgia.
Yeah.
Well, I was going to say, happy to connect him with Andy London, who's an animator and also a professor at Ostos Community College here in the Bronx.
Well, thank you, because one thing that my son has stated to me that he's learned in this year is that, like, he's like, you can take as many classes as you want, watch as many YouTube videos, go to tutoring. He's like, but you know what I really need? He's like, I need a mentor.
Exactly.
He's like, I need somebody, and I love that at his age, he recognized that. He's like, I need somebody who's going to watch me grow.
That's how you grow faster.
Yeah, that's basically it. So thank you for that. Yeah. But yeah, Julian has he from a young age has been going to the movies with me, going to film festivals. I homeschooled him one year when I had enough of the DOE. I was like, you're learning nothing in school. Like, I might as well take you out and teach you myself. I'll do a better job. And I did it for 1 year. And on that year, because I had already been working on the film festival circuit, which basically means you're hopping from festival to festival to festival, he came on tour with me, basically like a rock star mom. And I had him as a volunteer. He's like 10 years old. He's like sweeping the parties, and he's like lugging around like alcoholic beverages to the bar. And like he's, cleaning up popcorn here and scanning tickets for that whole entire year. Julian, whatever role that I had, whether it was like head of events or whether it was like venue manager, volunteer manager, he was my assistant. And, and everybody welcomed him, but he learned a lot at a really young age, but it became a part of his world. And so I'm not surprised that he's taken on film, animation in this way. And if he loves it, great. If he changes and decides to go to business, I wouldn't be surprised either, because he's also watching what it takes to build a business. He's been there every step of the way. So, but it is sometimes hard. I will say one thing. I remember the one year after I homeschooled him, and then he was with me all the time, and then I put him back in the school system. That year was hard for him. And I remember I came back from one of my trips, and I don't know if it was from like Palm Spring International Film Festival or right before the pandemic. He said, I want you to stay home. Like, I want you to be home more. And I looked at him and I was like, I love you more than anything. And I love PaleFO Cinema. It's like always the top for me. But my favorite job is being a mom. Like, there's nothing like it for me. I love it. And I that was the year where I was like, the pandemic, everything happened in a way where I was like, okay, perfect time for me to take a pause.
Vacuum.
Yeah, I needed, and he was on it. I want you to be home more. And I was like, okay. So being home more, like I cut back from 12 film festivals to doing 2 a year, which I still do. And I put a lot of focus into PaleFO Cinema, but now I'm like, okay, but we're going to be in this together. But it isn't always easy, because imagine Julian wasn't somebody that was interested in this. Imagine his world had nothing. He's like, I don't find this to be fascinating. I don't know what my life would be like. It's just, I think I got lucky in the way where he wants to learn. There are some times where he's like, I don't want to go out. I just want to stay here and play video games with my friends. And I'm like, I need you here. Like you're coming with me, and you're doing this with me, and you're going to smile, and you're going to brush your hair, and you're going to look great. I'll tell you one quick joke. There was one year I brought him to CinemaCon, and we're all super professional. He did not have a badge or anything, but like I kind of like got him in, and I was press. And I would act super normal when we were like in the lunch break area. And then, but as soon as like somebody would come in that was like, I don't know, a journalist from Variety or some exhibitor from Japan or something, I would like stand up, act like you work with me, like act like you were like my like somebody important. And he's like, I'm 12. Like, what are you talking about? But I would treat him as if he was an employee or a professional. So he has a very bizarre life. Like we like left the room, and like I said, I was like, stay 5 feet behind me, and I am cinema captain now. You are somebody that is somebody. And he's just like, but you're my, like, mom, are you serious? I'm like, don't call me mom. Like, call me Eileen Level. And it was like so interesting. And we laugh about it now, where He's like, you literally treated me like I was a staff member when I was like just trying to be with my mom at CinemaCon. But yeah, no, I definitely treated him like that because I was like, no, this is very serious, but I want you to be with me and you're going with me on this. But I need you to like rise to the occasion now. I don't care if you're a preteen. And so it's been such a wild ride.
Well,